Very interesting tweet here from Drake Jojo, and I thought it would be a perfect way to start this video. Here are all of the Rocksteady Batman games. Batman Arkham Asylum, 2 writers. Arkham City, 3. Arkham Origins, 5. Arkham Knight, 7. Gotham Knights, 14, 2 of which are Sweet Baby. And then, of course, everyone's favorite disaster, Kill the Justice League, 26 writers, half of which are Sweet Baby. First, why do we need so many writers on a project? That, to me, is stupid. Too many cooks in the kitchen. The best game on here had 3 writers. Okay? Arkham City, and, nothing against Arkham Asylum, Arkham Origins, Arkham Knight, I guess. That game's not my favorite, to be honest, but, Arkham City is a game that will stand the test of time. People will be playing that game in 10 years. Someone will sit down and play that game again in 10 years. It's a game that is going to go down as a timeless classic, in my opinion, because Batman's not going anywhere. So people will be sitting down and playing that for years to come. Nobody's going to give a shit about Gotham Knights, though. They already don't give a shit about Gotham Knights. So there is that. But it's funny that the 2 worst games on here contain Sweet Baby writers. I like to call them the Sweet Baby Death Kiss, because anything that they touch turns to shit. It has shit elements in it, and it brings it down. Spider-Man 2, great example, because it's nowhere near as good as the first game. And I'm sure some people will say in the comments that they still liked it. I would argue that Sweet Baby made that game worse. If Sweet Baby was never attached to that game, I guarantee you, you wouldn't have had to spend 20 minutes running around as a death girl doing graffiti. So they're in a little bit of trouble right now, and it continues to get worse because people are finding things that they've done in the past, and we're going to go over that. Let's start here, though. The main person behind this, Chris Kindred, the person that tried to get Crabrutus, I think I'm saying that right, Crabrutus, canceled, tried to get his Steam account canceled just because he made a curator. That person got their account locked down and in trouble over on X. It's funny. The momentum of Twitter, Chris Kindred is operating under the assumption that Twitter is still their battleground, and that's not the case anymore. Twitter X is a new place, and these little mobs that they try to incite don't quite work out as much as they used to. And when it happens and these people try to form these mobs and go after people, it usually backfires in their face, and they end up getting to be the ones in trouble. So this account got locked down. They got my ass. I'm guessing a few hundred gamers reported me. Am I supposed to feel bad for you? You tried to get this guy's account removed from Steam. And Cabrutus has a pretty big Steam account. I'm going to guess thousands of dollars in games, and you tried to get that person taken down. So I'm supposed to feel bad because you got your account locked out for 6 days? Oh, no. Oh, no. Very upset. Trolling their forums and chats and realizing that they don't care about Sweet Baby at all. Sweet Baby is just the most visible and the most vulnerable. They think we're some super firm funded by BlackRock receiving ESG funding and tasked by some entity to hold studios hostage. No, you're grifting on ESG. So companies want to make ESG money, and you say, well, we're here to offer our services so that you can get the most ESG money. People are tired of this shit, and they don't like it. And everything that you've touched has turned to shit. So, too bad. Sorry. You tried to get an account taken down, and it backfired in your face, and you're the one that got canceled. Sorry, man. I don't know what to tell you. I don't think anybody should report anybody, but, I'm also nobody's internet daddy. I can't tell people what to do. Sweet Baby Inc. CEO makes it clear she wants to erase white male lead characters while employee shows disdain for them. Now, I've went over that before, going over the collage of stuff that these people have said. And it's funny, Lego Butts especially has said some pretty nasty stuff, including the N-word and a few other things. But of course, as long as you vote the right way, people will brush that under the rug and say, well, okay, well, this is an ally, and they were just making an edgy joke back in the day, and it's no big deal. We can let that go because they helped the cause. But, if somebody they don't like said something a long time ago, they will try to run their ass through a pile of coals. But there's some interesting stuff that's come up. So Grums has really been doing some God's work over on Twitter and bringing this stuff to a lot of people's attention. This is the co-founder of Sweet Baby Inc. And as he says here, Sweet Baby Inc. used fear, intimidation, and the threat of cancellation to get studios to make their games carry their political narrative. This is the founder's own words. So, this account right here, Chris Kindred, saying that, Sweet Baby doesn't do these kinds of things. They don't have any real power. Well, let's listen to the co-founder of Sweet Baby Inc. What does she have to say? Let's listen to this, a 20-second clip.
If you're a creative working in AAA, which I did for many, many years, put this stuff up to your higher-ups. And if they don't see the value in what you're asking for when you ask for consultants, when you ask for research, go have a coffee with your marketing team and just terrify them with the possibility of what's going to happen if they don't give you what you want.
What's going to happen if they don't give you what you want? Which means, hey, advocate to get them into the studio. So, a few years ago, this was the tactics of the left, and it still is. The problem is that some of the stuff that they do now is nowhere near as effective as it used to be. They can't just really lift their finger and get anybody taken out anymore. It's just not really how things work anymore. Calling people racist, nowhere near as powerful as it used to be because they've diluted it so much. And that's their own fault for, overusing the hell out of it. But a few years ago, that was a very, very worthwhile tactic that did work for them quite a bit. Grum's over here talking about some stuff, and I think some of this is pretty interesting. He's been highlighting the fact that right on time, a Forbes journalist has now come up. It's Monday, and game journalists are back to work defending the scummiest people and corporations in gaming, highlighting that Paul Tassi is saying, this will wake the hive, but this whole Sweet Baby panic is truly the dumbest thing I have ever seen. Almost like people at Sweet Baby put a phone call in, and now game journalists are rushing in to try to protect them and make sure that they are safe and any kind of narratives are brought off of them, because companies like Sweet Baby need to be protected. Protected. So he's got a little thread here. Lego Butts from Sweet Baby Inc., Zoe Quinn's PR person, and Sarkeesian worked hard to hide the real reason Gamergate happened. Wikipedia, a woke hive filled with cancel pigs, was complicit. Compare the U.S. version of the Chinese to the Chinese version, where they had less influence. And he's got this one here, if you want to pause and read it. And then you can go over to the American version and do the same thing with that one, and you'll see exactly what he's talking about. U.S. game journalists who consider themselves valuable allies, more than truth finders, actively lied and smeared gamers for an entire year. These false articles, of course, were now referenced by Wikipedia as factual sources, the circle of lies complete. Gamergate directly kicked off the era of internet censorship. Twitter began to police trend lists, and shadow bans first started to appear. Twitter users who noticed these things were quickly condemned as conspiracy theorists, but we now know they were correct. See the Twitter files. Gamergate was effective at challenging and exposing the false narrative of journalists, that a mass panic ensued amongst media and tech that still persists today. The censorship and narrative manipulation tools of widespread use today were forged in the days of GG. This is why whenever populist movement happens, or a truth in opposition to the MSM narrative begins to surface, the same anti-GG tactics are deployed by journalists and bots. So, this is where we're at. And I like that he brings up Paul Tassi again right here. This is where we're at with this stuff, and I imagine more stuff is going to keep coming out as time goes on. Paul Tassi here, though, isn't going to be the last one. And by the way, as he points out here, writes about games and TV at Forbes. So he will for sure be writing an article. In fact, I'm sure his Microsoft Word is already mostly filled with what he plans to print over at Forbes, and he won't be the last, because how these things works is Paul will write his article, and then some jackass at IGN will write an article and they'll cite his, and then some jackass at The Gamer will write one and he'll cite IGN and Paul, and then somebody from The Verge will write an article and they'll cite Paul and IGN and The Gamer, and so on and so on. And that's how it'll all go. And by the end of next week, there'll be at least 40 articles talking about how great Sweet Baby is and how we're all istophobic incels. So it'll be fun to go through it again and talk about it and laugh about it. The difference is, though, that this time it'll be a lot less successful. And it won't really matter if they fix their image or not, because we are for sure on the verge of some kind of AAA gaming collapse. I'm not saying the video game industry is going to shut down, because I know some moron is going to say I said that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the days of AAA gaming and just being able to, make big deals about things like, oh, we're going to have women in the World War II battlefield and shit, all of that's going to come to an end. Not quickly. First, they have to lose all of their money, which is quickly happening, because Spider-Man, the biggest game of last year, sold a lot of units and still didn't make money. So all people got to do is start closing their wallets a little bit more, and they already are. And we'll get a nice course correction, I think. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments. Also, if you would, please like, subscribe, share the video. Make sure you're still subscribed. Hit that notification bell. Check out my Rumble and Locals, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Make sure to check out my Locals. There's a link in the description. It's a fun community that I'm trying to build over here. If you don't want to support me on YouTube, you can come over here. None of that money goes to YouTube. You also can just come over here for free. But if you are a supporter over here, I do plan on doing an extra live stream once a month and throwing links to the supporters so you can actually come on and have a supporter live stream with me. Also, it's a good place to catch all of my content. You don't have to worry about notifications like YouTube. They'll definitely work over here. So come check out my Locals.